Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storm, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorm.com to learn more. Hey there. I'm so pleased that you're here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of this podcast. It's just going to be like a short and sharp one, which I know it's very unlike me, isn't it? But the honest to goodness reason for it is because it's 2:17 right now and I've got to leave at 22 because I've got an appointment with my financial advisor. So I'm just going to dive right in. And what I want to talk about today is confidence. And here's the thing. When you want to do something right, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, now's not the right time. I've got to get all my ducks in a row, all those kinds of things that maybe you've said them before, or you've said some variation of that, or you've heard other people say things like that. I guess what I want to lean into today is that it's almost like we feel we have to wait until we feel confident in order to do something, right? It's like we think, once I feel ready, once I feel good, once I feel confident, then I will do the scary thing, right? That scary thing could be, raising your fee, charging a cancellation, like whatever it is. Might be hiring a business coach. You never know. Might be getting your own therapy. But we get in our own way sometimes, some of us, because this little gremlin that pops up that says, I'll do it when I'm ready, I'm not ready, etc., etc. But here's the thing. Confidence is on the other side of fear, right? So there's something you're going to have to go through, and that is the fear. Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to private practice, I've certainly had my fair share of fears. I was very, very, very fearful when I moved out of the medical clinic and I moved into my own sort of space all away from medical clinics. And I contacted referrers who had previously been sending me loads of clients, and they told me, no, not going to send anybody to you because you're charging $15. You're ripping people off with your $15 over there, Brooklyn. All us doctors over here, we work for nothing. They're not working for nothing, by the way. They get the Medicare rebate. And also, by the way, they get to double and triple book. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to a bulk billing medical centre, but I certainly have. And, even my mum's eye specialist, I take her there every 8 weeks and he triple books. No word of a lie. I can go there, take her with me. We get there at like 1 o'clock. We're not out till 5:30 because he's triple booked everybody on the half hour. So yeah, doctors might be able to do that and things, but apparently if you want to charge $15, you're the worst person in the world. So of course I was very, very afraid of, I'm never going to build my private practice. And I was very, 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 very afraid of spending money when no money was coming in. And, there was some data that was released recently by the Australian Bureau of Statistics that was saying that on average in the past, Australians used to have enough savings in the bank to get them through the next 2 or 3 mortgage payments. But now the data says it's one or less. So anyway, I didn't have a whole lot of savings, right? And I was chewing through them because I had to pay for the lease and, all the things, okay? I know I'm preaching to the converted over here, but all the things. And it was really, really hard. And so, I struggled and I knew that I needed help. I had tried everything that I could. I had gone on Google for hours, YouTube for hours, getting advice from other people in online communities. I'm a big fan of online communities. What I know now, like wise me would tell naive me back then, like if I could go back in time and talk to that version of me then, I would say, save your time. There are so many people in online communities that genuinely want to help but don't know what they're doing, and aren't even running a successful business themselves. And when you don't think critically and you don't ask questions and you just assume that everybody knows better, like I did, you make big mistakes in your business, right? And there's nobody to blame except for you, because you should have done your research, right? You should have asked the questions, but you don't think. This is why I'm always saying to you, like, think critically, ask questions. Anyway, so I knew at some point I needed to do something, and that's when I invested in my very first business retreat. And at the time, I think from memory, it was like $1,500. It was interstate. I had to also pay for flights and dog minding and, parking at the airport, which, by the way, like, what's that about? That's so expensive. But anyway, I did all of that. And it was so scary because it was money that I was really worried I wasn't going to get a return on, because nothing else had been working, you see. And all that stuff had been free. So if I was going to, try something else and it wasn't going to work, now I'm really up the creek, if you know what I mean, because now I'm also down like about $2,000. So anywho, I was scared. And I remembered going back and forward when I saw the sales page, I was like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? And then, it just kind of got to the point where I realized, okay, like, this is it, or I'm going to have to go and work at Bunnings. And, I coughed up the money. I think I went on a payment plan. I paid it out at, I think it was $120 a month or something. Anyway, best decision I made right at the start of my private practice, because it got me into a community of other people. Some were further along than me, some weren't as far along as me. They were like really brand new to private practice. All had different niches, different perspectives, all of that. And I just was a little sponge, and seriously, like, I was there to soak it all up. And I was learning not only from the people that were running the retreat, but I was learning from the other people that were in there, right? That's like the whole value of community. It's hearing the wisdom, the lessons, the growth that others can impart and share with you. But I remember just being so scared of getting out the credit card and, putting the money down. Now, I know to you, like 120 might not sound like much, but to me it was like so much. Like, do you know what I could have done with that money? I could have done so much with that money. And knowing too that I was committing to like a really long, it felt to me like it was a very long payment plan. I think it was 12 months, but I had the option to pay it out sooner or something. And I was so nervous. I was so scared. And I typed my credit card details in, and I ticked the, the payment plan option. I ticked that. And there were only a certain number of places available. And I had been mucking around with toing and froing for so long. I was also wondering, like, are there even any spots still left? And thankfully, I got a spot. And do you know what happened next? The payment confirmation came up on the computer screen, and all of a sudden, the fear was gone. I wasn't shaking anymore. I didn't have like that sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. I didn't have butterflies. I didn't feel scared or anything like that. Sorry if I just said that. My mind goes off on walkabout sometimes. But it was actually unexpected, but I felt exhilarated to the point where I was jumping around the office, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that, And and then when I went, I loved it. I absorbed it. I was engaged. I was there. I did all of the things, and I made lists and all of this. And then I came back and I implemented so much of the stuff really quickly, right? Because I needed to get this business financial. And I implemented so much stuff, and sure as X, I started to see changes. And, as I got more settled in the business and there was more stability with clients and bookings and things like that, then I started to go and make my own ways of doing things, right? Because I had confidence. So here's the thing, I didn't wait to take the leap for me to already feel confident, because honestly, I don't think I ever would have felt confident. I don't think the confidence was ever on my horizon. That there was no way that confidence was going to come first. I knew that I didn't feel confident because it wasn't working. I was working my butt off and it still wasn't working. Everybody says, oh, hard work pays off. It was BS. Like, it wasn't working for me. I was doubting myself. I had imposter syndrome. I was questioning everything. Yeah. And I was just like really feeling stuck. I was so motivated. I wanted to do stuff, but I had no clue what to do. And I had no clue if the things that I was doing were right. Like, did I really need to be doing them? And I had nobody to give me any guidance around whether or not I was doing these things correctly. So, yeah, the fear came first, and it was me just saying, okay, fine, this is scary. That's the reality. This is a scary thing to do. My brain is saying, hey, warning, warning, warning. Like, you're going to do something out of the ordinary for you. Warning, warning, warning. This might not be safe. But you know what? As soon as I paid it, as soon as I got that payment confirmation, I felt like, what was I even worried about? This wasn't even such a big deal. I was also super excited. And then, like, things worked out. Things got a lot better. So what I learned from that experience was that when I don't wait to have the confidence first, I get results more quickly. The other thing that I did was I reframed fear, and I now see fear. This is what I truly hand on heart believe. I really believe when it comes to my business, if I'm being challenged or if there's something that I need to do that feels a little bit scary, a little bit, makes me nervous, makes me a little bit worried or frightened or something like that, I now choose to see that as a great big wink from the universe that, keep going, girl, you're on the right track. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. Come to me, come to me, come to me. It's like the universe is on the other side of this invisible chasm saying, you're safe. Come on, jump it. Like, you can do this. Take a few steps back, run up, and you're going to be fine. I'm going to catch you. And I believe that because my faith, so not religious faith, like in terms, Buddhism isn't a religion. It's a spirituality thing, but I'm Buddhist, by the way, but I'm not religious. So when I say faith, for me, what that means is leaning into Buddhism, but also leaning into what I believe about everything being energy. Okay, energy. I'm going to go off on a tangent. I'm just trying to reel myself back in because I don't have much time to go off on a tangent today. So when I hold the faith that I'm always supported, that I'm on the right track, and that if I want different things, they're going to feel different to what I normally feel, right? That's a sign of expansion. That's a sign of growth. If I just stay feeling safe all the time, but things still aren't working out, and I'm not doing anything differently, nothing's going to change. I have to take a leap into trying something else. And yeah, that's what I firmly believe now. And so even when I get nervous now about things, or even when I feel fear now about anything related to my business, instead of amplifying the fear and making it 10 times worse by getting caught up in my own whirlwind of drama, I now remind myself, oh, hang on, you're feeling nervous about this. This must mean that this is the right next step for you. So I've totally reframed it in my mind, and it really just helps me so much. And I wanted to share that with you today, because if it's been on your heart to try something new, but you've been giving into the fear, I wanted to share with you something that might help you acknowledge the fear, create space for the fear and say, hey, fear, I get it. You're here. You're welcome to be here, but I'm still going to do this thing, right? You can come with or not, up to you, but I'm moving ahead. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know if you're doing maybe IFS or something like that, you might talk about reparenting, parenting, sorry, not reparenting, parenting the fear. And so, yeah, I lean into what I believe, and I choose to believe that growth is uncomfortable. So when I feel discomfort, instead of interpreting it as fear, I now say to myself, oh, this is good. This must mean you're moving into the next stage now. Something's opening up for you. You're becoming something now. Do you know what I mean? So that really helps a lot. And then one of the other things that sort of came up today, we had the business mastermind this morning and the coffee catch-ups with the Momentum women, and it went so well. But yeah, we're talking there about when things happen in the business, how you got to deal with them. And it can become quite a thing, right? And again, like I've got so many examples of this happening in my business. Like when I first started, I wasn't charging cancellation fees like many of you, and I felt sick about it like many of you, and all of the things. But then, it kind of got to the pointy end of the stick, and I realized I needed to be charging the cancellation fees. And I didn't do it well. I didn't know what I was doing. I was totally winging it. And I messed it up. I totally messed it up. And as a result of me messing it up, right? So what happened was I didn't give much warning to people about it. What else? Yeah, I think it was mostly like people would just kind of say, no, I didn't know, you've never charged me before. Why is there a fee now? And things like that. So it was really around communication and stuff like that. And then I was sending invoices to people. Like I didn't have, and I'd feel sick every time I had to send an invoice, and I would prepare it, and then I would sit on it for days because I didn't want to upset somebody. Also, I didn't want anybody to be upset with me. And so this was how I used to approach business before I had my business mindset, before I understood about, when I'm over here and I'm on the couch or in the chair and I'm doing the work, over here, great, that's when I'm a therapist. But over here, when the people have gone and I'm here, I'm the business owner right now, and I'm doing business things. I'm doing business development things. I'm planning, I'm marketing, I'm managing the money, I'm doing the things. And so, I would find myself kind of having to respond to things that were happening in the business as they were happening, as they were unfolding. And I was just completely unprepared, which meant that I was creating things on the go. And when you're creating things on the go, you're thankful to finally have something sort of cobbled together, right? But you don't know if it's good, you don't know if it's right, all of those kinds of things. And then you just get through that little, fire over there, and then another fire starts up somewhere else, and that's going to require a whole different response, right? And you're unprepared for that. So one of the things that I was talking with the ladies about today was it's really important to anticipate the things that may happen in the practice and to have already created processes around them so that when they happen, you can operate without as much emotion, right? It just takes emotion out of it because you're like, oh, I've got a process for that. And you just refer to your process and you follow your process. Just like how I know that there are some women in private practice, they get a client, the client calls, they book an appointment, and then the client just kind of turns up, maybe just does some paperwork, and then they get started with therapy. But other than that, there's no real onboarding process. And so not having a proper onboarding process, and equally as important, a professional offboarding process, that lets clients know, that lets you know, okay, we're at the end now, here's what happens, rather than you just always feeling like you're winging it. So having processes ahead of time is going to save you so much stress, and it's going to save you so much angst, and it's going to really put you in control of the business. And in terms of confidence, which is the topic for today, it will really help you start to feel a lot more safe and secure in the business because you've got these structures to lean on. Okay. When we're doing other things in the business, like, I don't know, maybe you're trying to get more clients, or maybe you're trying to get more followers on your socials and things like that. You've got ways of doing it. Some people will use, determination, and they're going to push, and they're going to use their willpower, or they're going to lean into their motivation. Others will use processes and systems and things like that. It's different for everybody. But what I know to be true is that if you're relying on, I don't know, willpower or pushing or motivation or, things like that, those things ebb and flow, right? They're not solid. None of those things are a foundation. When you have a structure or a process, that's totally solid, and you can lean into that. Even if you've got zero motivation, you've still got that there to support the business, right? Because the structures, the processes, the policies, they all protect the business so that you can do what you love with the right clients for you, and also so that you're looked after and you're supported. Okay. So very, very important. I just want you to think about that, so many times I think as women we're feelers, right? And we can be, we have so much empathy and we have compassion, and we can get in the mud with our clients, right? But we can't always run a practice based on our intuition, our gut feeling, the way that we're feeling, our emotions and things like that, like just what feels right. And that's what I'm saying, like even things like saying like, I'm so determined to get this done. You don't have to be determined to get it done. You just need a system, and that system should ideally make it easy, right? So think about what's the, you've heard me say this a million times, like what's the easiest way you could do this? This is why I say it, because it just makes your life easier. I was going to say better, but it really does make your life easier if you've got easy ways of doing things. So when it comes to maybe getting a client, you could just not have a plan, and you might just be winging it, right? You might be in Canva, you might be like posting the stuff, but not getting any real results. And it's because there's no system there, right? You're just grabbing at things ad hoc, or you're just doing what you think is the right thing, and nothing's working. But if you have a system or a process, that then allows you to, it removes the mental load of you having to come up with stuff by saying, okay, this is actually what we're doing. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3, right? Here's your checklist, here's the thing, whatever it is. So it removes all of that mental load. So it stops you being so exhausted. You can trust it because you already made it. And then the other thing is that you track it. You're going to track the results, because now you've got a repeatable process here. You're going to post on your social media the same way, in the same format, the same style, doing it like this at the same time, in this order, all of the steps every single time. And then over the space of, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you got data there. And if you're tracking your progress, what happens is your brain objectively sees that things are working. What can happen, what I hear all the time, is some of my clients, they're doing so well. They're doing really, 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 really well, but they don't see it. They're thinking not about their achievements and what's going well. They're looking at what is still remaining, what's outstanding, what do I need to do, what's next on the list. I'm behind. They're thinking like this. And it gets them into this state of, I'm not good enough. Everybody's further along than me. I'm catching up, all of this. And that's not actually reality. What is going to work better? And yeah, I mean, you can try and tell yourself, no, I'm doing all right. But what will work better is when you track, right? If you had a little way of tracking how many inquiries came through, or how much money came through, or how many cancellations didn't happen this week, or how much you paid yourself, or whatever it is, you're going to see over time, over those 90 days, you're going to see the track go up, the track go down, the track go up, the track go up, the track go up, track come down, track go up. It's going to be higgledy-piggledy, and it's going to, the trajectory overall is going to be positive. It's going to be moving in the right direction. And you'll be able to see that, oh, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Actually, Monday was pretty good over here, and wow, look at Thursday. But yeah, Wednesday was a little bit of a dip. And you'll also see that dips happen, but they don't outweigh the valleys. No. I was thinking peaks and valleys. You know what I mean. The tall bits, the spikes, the good bits, the positive bits aren't outweighed by, the little hiccups here and there. It's like, think of when you see the news and they put the stock exchange stuff on and it's that jagged line. It's like that, but it's like moving in an upward direction. And the value of having that tracker somewhere where you can see it on your computer, or if you're like me and you've got, a multitude of multicolored notebooks on your desk. It might be, printed off, might be something in a notebook. But if you've got something and your brain is looking at that thing every day, then your brain takes that as true evidence that, hey, you're doing well. It's getting better. So this is why it's so important to have structure, a process, and to be tracking. And those things will also help you to feel more confident in your private practice. And so that's some of the stuff that we focus on inside Practice Momentum. And yeah, if you want to know a little bit more, or you're interested in perhaps joining Practice Momentum, let me know. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you about it and see whether or not it can help. If not, I can always point you in the direction of something else. It's not a problem. What's most important is that you create the business that's going to work for you. Okay? Anyway, my lovelies, it is literally 2:44, so I do have to go, and I will talk to you in the next episode, which is on Saturday. Okay, bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorm.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.